A long time ago, I read what Isaac Asimov had to say about the Broadway musical Hair. It amounted to scorn about the idea that the moon was in the seventh house. He said this happened a long time ago. It's based on old charts. The cosmos has changed, etc. He then go on to say this makes the pretty music of the age of Aquarius less musical. It's just not true scientifically. But I think it's clear that people who scour the Android zone for Ivy League science fiction ideas, the sort of people who understand the social history of nihilism, for example, and the various positions that have been staked out by philosophers and sociologists on what the meaning of nihilism is. And the war gamers in universities who structure their ideas around scientific studies from which people cannot really defend themselves on civil rights ground because they're secret. It's known as conflict theory. Greg Carl calls it forces impinging on the persona. Persona is like the Truman Show. He doesn't know he's in a impinged Hollywood surroundings. And how the sets fall in Blazing Saddles. This gives rise to the Bush enigma of a line in the sand serving as a parable. Like you could think of somebody who's really psychotic, super hallucinating, right-wing scientist in the military designing secret weapons, deciding to construct a world where everything in robotics is a nihilistic parable for himself. And it's supposed to talk it out of doing something while the forces from Forbidden Planet of the Id are being generated and so on. So Bush draws a line in the sand as a metaphor for the leper being taunted by the Israeli goddess in the woods, and the true meaning of read my lips. Okay, and Peter Gabriel setting off medicine men with Oliver Stone and so on. And what to understand this metaphor system and the way this police psychiatrist behind the AIDS attack tampered with our surroundings to make it palatable. A trick that for some reason the media thinks we should go on playing on ourselves. We somehow can afford to be tricked like this over and over again. Hybrid zania war, as they call it, hybrid war. You could turn to Peripheral by William Gibson. Gibson's obviously in on all of this. George Will calls it one man's psychodrama. Why not? Martin Sheen does it from his Secret West Wing. So in Peripheral, there's a two real video game, and it seems the person involved and somebody really got killed, And this is like Louis Lapham, if you're listening to this, believe me, I hate you for doing this. Believe me, my grandfather hates you for doing this. It's highly irregular and you can't face it. It's beneath contempt. I'm not going to repeat myself in another video. It's beneath contempt that somebody like you even has to be told the evil idiocy underwriting what you've chosen to do. And so I'm not going to repeat myself. It's not because no matter how many times I say it, you paper shred it. So when we look at the social history of the problem of Reagan, the Reagan menace, the lies that were told to justify, Israeli intelligence activities in Central America, and so all the hoarding of weapons and the brutal siphoning of our funds for hideous weapons of mass destruction, the absurdity of it, waste and theft, and made these leapfrog oligarchs the fat men they are now. Have no decency. Goes back to, World War II and the gyrations of the Red Scare. And if you go back to 1914, when World War I broke out, a lot of very intelligent people were around. And the futurists foresaw how they could set up a secret meeting of minds in the background of Hollywood to control what people were considered allowed to think. Like, it may seem contradictory that Reagan would crusade for national security and then Donald Trump would throw national security secrets out the window like confetti. But these things are done in phases. And the God law system that was put into place, and the alternative was self-martyrdom, reckless abandon, yeehaw, was planned. It's a fundamentalist tripartite system that went on behind the scenes. We'll keep dickering over property, but we'll agree to this operation, they said to each other. And they hardwired it into symbolism, like the Exocet scam they called Iran-Contra. Hardwired as a symbol. I mean, Daniel Ortega was one of the people who agreed to keep silent about the master operation. So, because Chomsky was a diplomat for Reagan and Trump. I mean, it's perfectly obvious from his silence and the refusal to arrest Gail Burstyn. I mean, what makes a little gangster syndicate of Jewish guerrillas a first family, a secret first family, where they're allowed to carpet anything that you cognate? I mean, they terrorize you, torture you, and then somebody hurts one of them. One of them falls prey to an accident. They look at you. If you value your life or the life of anyone who you love, you will not cheer. And you weren't even cheering. You just crossed your mind, that the person was a criminal. And so what do? You say they should have been reported as a criminal and given a fair trial. And you're considered the evil one because this is the first family, secret first family, through the glass darkly. And so what do? They find someone you love and they trigger a hybrid Zania without trial. And they say it's because you are a witch. You're cognate, and they start threatening and killing all sorts of innocent people, murdering innocent people at the clubhouse, and they get away with it because of this hybrid Zania thing that double-crosser Lewis Lapham constructed. And they call it Amnesty International. You must be an automaton. You must be the umpire who understands that the first family who committed genocide are as intelligent and important as the victims who they rip and murder. All I said was they should be arrested. What does that have to do with guilt if one of them walks in front of a truck? But you see, they don't have logic to go with. They put on their thinking caps with the little spinners, and they say, you were in the league of crafty hybrid zaniacs. I was. No, I wasn't. And the Swami Nostra was pulling strings for their puppet show. Roger Waters detected malice and said, "Ding." So you sent a signal because you wanted Roger Waters to say, "Ding." No, I didn't. It has nothing to do with the truth. As a matter of fact, it's perfectly obvious it is. I mourned every single one of those victims on either side because of the breakdown in normative processes that it symbolized. Yes. But they say no. And without trial, they say no. And without trial, they murder innocent people because they say no. And they line up in a confederacy they call a union. And they all say no together. And they come running with their spears. We're going to finish this. We're going to finish this. We're going to finish this. We're going to kill more innocent people. And then when one of us gets blowback and you go, oh my God, it's your fault. We're going to do it some more. And who do they have lined up behind them? The Federal Bureau of Investigation, University Administration, police, psychiatry, every last spicking, sick, spit mouth poisoning, curricula vitae in U.S. media stands behind them. Yes, they do. Ripper murdering innocent people. Fox TV, yeah. CNN, yeah. Yahoo, yeah. Twitter, Elon Musk, yeah. Ripper murdering innocent American on the sidewalk of Seattle. And they cheer. And why did they cheer? They said because one of us got hit by a truck. And we suspect you were glad. I wasn't glad about any of that. But they lied with such cold blood that in no time at all, someone's going to find them out and hate them. Is that illegal? Is it illegal to hate somebody who ripper murders an innocent girl? Is it illegal to hate a bunch of people who cheer? Yay. They mistake me for themselves. They kill innocent people and cheer. Yeah, it's only human, they say. Has nothing to do with me. Everybody is entitled to a fair trial, where there's a presumption of evidence and a presumption of innocence. Everybody. They say that when they locked me from a house on the inside with the man who tortured me, I acted like I was friendly to him. I tried to get out the back door. They had it locked on the inside. That's not a fair shake. And they call it judge and jury in their heads. What's that got to do with a fair shake? They locked me in the house from the inside with the person who tortured me. But when I reported it to respectable constabulary. It said this man is entitled to a fair trial, but I want you to know what he did because he's a terrorist and a criminal. I guess he takes a side. The rock world takes a side. Major League Baseball takes a side. The NAACP takes a side, even though he tore my head off as a white racist of the KKK because he saw me as a race traitor. The NAACP comes chanting and prancing, we got Donald Trump's money bag. We're going to. And why did they do it? They said because of theft. All of these evil assholes get laid. The theft. We made leaky tops. And the basis was that they said that I was screaming from a neuroplasm from a girl who I left completely untouched. As pure as the golden snow. And they said that proves rape. It's another one of these little stories that they tell. And it never stops. They monger it while they rip off the Carnegie for millions of dollars. And Penis Gabriel comes, yeah, rip them up. And Donald Trump stuffs them in his little black bags. And Rudy Giuliani runs down the tunnels of Mar-a-Lago with the stuff. And you think that's not true? Adam Eisenstadt, his speechwriter, came up to the pet news and said, somebody give Queerbait 200 pounds of love beats so he stops writing his soft-headed anachronistic fodder. like his soft-headed anachronistic father. You think it's not true? He's a speechwriter for Donald Trump, and it's about Strand worked with John Schulman was arrested on $8 million museum heist. And the FBI lines up. They say, "Oh no, we have spears, and burning spears message to you. It's clear, right? You're going to join the union, eugenic union. No more strife out of you, because we'll do one of these at your white granny. We'll do like this at all of your white grannies." And they call this politics. Penis Gabriel is a horse's ass. He has made himself a monster and a nuisance for so long that nobody knows what to do with him. They won't even diagnose his message. It's in Diva, it's in the Telltale clips, and it traces back to that Nazi Reagan. You think I'm not going to call him one? He called himself one. He went to the Bitburg Belsen. I mean, these abnormal, horrible guerrilla Jews who did this, a whole monstrosity, who tell us to worship Ronald Reagan. Ignore the fact that he went to Bitburg Belsen and laid a laurel wreath at the Gestapo. And they say, "Oh no, Joseph Goebbels is the Jewish Defense League." It's not a joke, it's the truth. When they ran their AIDS operation on Mount Desert Island, they said Joseph Goebbels was the Jewish Defense League. For real. And then Dr. Proctor of WQED pours out this mountain. It's like a mountain of Cambodian skulls, a mountain of horror show German swastikas. He calls them sacred royal, the African symbols. And they have 7-foot tall black men with Leni Riefenstahl, the filmmaker of Adolf Hitler, coming out of Africa saying, "Zork, Zork, we will save our people from the fossil fuel industry." Guess who they're going to save of their people? The people who worked for the fossil fuel industry, the equal opportunity in Zork. Zork has an equal opportunity. No echo schools. You're a goddamn Aquarian. You think the moon is in the seventh house. Ask Isaac Asimov if the moon is in the seventh house. George Bush going to draw a line in the sand. For what? Because of a 9-year-old kid who thinks the war in Vietnam is on? You like this, Pip?